Hey, thanks everyone. My name is Matt Filgate, VP Corporate Development with Talisker Resources. I'm excited to tell you guys about Talisker today. Some of you guys might be familiar with Talisker. We started in 2019. BC, Southern British Columbia focused gold exploration company that is currently transitioning to production. So that's really the exciting part of this story. Forward-looking statements, you guys have all seen this before. So some of the key points on Talisker, I'll start with strongly capitalized. We signed a royalty deal recently that gives us enough cash to transition the project into production. So that's really key. We have no debt, and we currently have a draw facility that contains 37 million Canadian. The first tranche of the royalty deal, which was done with Sprott Streaming and Royalties, was taken earlier this year. That was for $7 million US. The second tranche of that we'll be taking in the next couple of weeks. That's 11.75 million, and that will allow us to begin production in our Mustang mine, which is fully developed up to this point. Permitting, the project, which is Braylorn Gold, is fully permitted. It has its major mine permits. It has its water discharge and tailings facility permits. So basically it's all wrapped up and ready to go. Access and infrastructure, like I mentioned, we're located in Southern British Columbia. All of our projects are accessible by major highways, which are maintained by the government right to the front gate of our Braylorn project. So that gives us a lot of flexibility. And I'll get into why that infrastructure is so important as we are located close to existing infrastructure and toll mills, which gives us an opportunity. Low capex, we're going to be trucking all of our ore for the initial 3 years of the test mine. So all the ore that we produce at Braylorn is going to go into trucks and shipped over to a centralized milling facility on what is called an ore purchase agreement. So we will be selling our ore to a third party. They will process it and they will pay us on the value of gold in the ore. So it's a pretty unique approach. It lowers that upfront capex significantly, and it allows for us to lower any possibility of debt, utilize the capital that we have to bring this fully permitted project into production quickly and start to generate some free cash flow that we can use to build the mine and expand on the current resource. To speak to that resource, we put that resource out early this year. It's 1.7 million ounces. It's averaging 6.4 grams, but with the current drilling that we've just completed, 15,000 meters, the indicated grade of that has come up to 12 grams. And so for the first 3 years of the mine life, we're looking at an average of around 11 grams per ton, fully diluted, mined and put into the truck. So this is a very high grade, high profitable project. Strong leadership team. Our leadership team consists of mainly technical geologists that come from big company trained backgrounds with over 50 million ounces of discovered deposits around the world. So we have a strong exploration background, and what we look for when we evaluate projects is we look for the potential to grow to multi-million ounce, large scale, large size deposits. And that was our focus when we started Talisker. So rapid pathway to high margin gold. So currently we're funded to production. We just completed 1,500 meters of rehabilitation on the old mine site. So we slashed out the existing infrastructure from 3 meters up to 4 meters. That's going to allow for more modern mining equipment to come in. We're fully permitted for mining. Like I mentioned, we have all of our permits in place. We've signed an agreement with the local First Nations group that sits about 40 kilometers away from the site. They're really a key partner on this project. They're really excited about the opportunity. We're working with their business development arm to make sure that they're included on all contracts, especially the trucking of ore, which we're working right now with them to make sure that they have access and capital to help us truck our ore. Offsite processing equals low capex. That's really the fundamental part of this story. It's a very difficult capital market right now, especially in the gold space. We all know that. So we have to be creative. And this is a really exciting opportunity for Talisker. Having a fully permitted project, high grade gold, existing infrastructure on site, it allows us to rapidly transform this project from what would be an exploration or resource development project to a full producing asset. So very exciting time for us as a company. Our ultimate goal, our corporate aim, is to get to 100,000 ounces per year. So starting in 2024, this year, we will be doing around 13,000 ounces. We expect our first trucks to be shipped in May. So we're going to be blasting our first production stopes here in April. This year we'll look at 13,000 ounces, 14,000 ounces. We're going to ramp up to 500 tons a day in 2025. That'll bring the total up to around 35,000 ounces trucked. And the ultimate goal is to bring everything back home and put on-site processing in year 2026, where we can start to run 1,000 tons a day and reach our 100,000 ounce per year goal. So really, we're taking a staged approach to this. The focus for us right now is to do it slow and steady and be able to build up that cash base to help self-fund the growth of the mine, but also the infrastructure that we want to put on site. So you can see that last point there, self-funding growth strategy. That's really what we're trying to do at Talisker. Just a note on our location. So we are located in southern British Columbia. You can see the circle around Braylorn there. So that sits about an hour and a half north of Pemberton. It's accessible by 2 roads. In the summer, we can go right up over the Hurley Road. And in the winter, we drive around to Lillooet. But great access, close to infrastructure. We're about 4 hours from Vancouver. So we have access to good workforce, good mining engineering teams. Really, it's the heart of southern British Columbia mining. So it's a good place to be. I'll make a couple notes on some of our other projects. We have the Ladner Gold Project, which we acquired in 2022. Very similar to Braylorn. It's similar geology. It was a historic mine. It produced somewhere around 50,000 ounces and was shut down back in the 80s due to low gold price. The current resource there is just under 700,000 ounces. We've done all the technical work on it. We see a clear pathway to bring that up to over 2 million ounces. And again, it is fully permitted. It has a major mines permit that allows for over 1,000 tons a day. So really exciting opportunity. There's currently no infrastructure there on site. The old mill has been taken down, but it really fits into a long-term strategy for Talisker. As we bring in Braylorn online and start to generate cash, we can start to advance Ladner in the background and eventually become a multi-asset producer, which is our ultimate goal. I will make a note on that big land package you see there. That's our Spence's Bridge Belt. That's all early stage greenfields exploration. So we haven't done any drilling on that project, but we have defined over 100 targets on it. We had 22 geologists out in the field. We crawled over the mountains in every single valley, took samples of everything, and we came up with over 100 targets in that belt. We narrowed that down to 14 drill targets, and the best drill target that we have there is our Cyclone Nova project, which is a 5-kilometer vein field of low sulfidation epithermal veins. So really the focus of the company is on Braylorn. That's where all of our capital is going right now. But as the gold markets pick up, which we all hope they will, we'll be able to start exploring and making discoveries in what we think is a world-class epithermal belt, highlighted by the Shovel Nose deposit, which was discovered a couple years ago by Westhaven and is now over 1 million ounces. Just a quick note on the history of Braylorn, because this is really important, and this is where we gain our confidence in this deposit. It was in production for over 40 years. It produced 4.2 million ounces at an average grade of 17.7 grams. And what we're seeing with our indicated grades as we drill tighter spacing is that the grade is coming back up towards that historic average. This was fairly surgical mining that they did back in the day. We're going to be taking a bit bigger stopes with a bit more dilution, so we expect our average mining grade to come out somewhere in the 11 to 12 gram range. But just to put that in perspective, 2,300 ounces per vertical meter was taken out of this mine. It was mined down to a depth of 1.9 kilometers. And still to this day holds the record as the largest gold camp in Western Canada. Well ahead of Bruce Jack and Caribou and all these other famous projects that we know. This is and was the best mine in Western Canadian history. So some key points. After we acquired it in 2019, we put 150,000 meters of drilling. That's actually up to 165,000 now with the 15,000 meter program that we just completed. We've identified 86 veins. 75 of those veins are open in all directions. So these are orogenic veins. They run for kilometers along strike and they go down multi-kilometers along dip. So very continuous, very high grade veins. And what it requires is further drilling. And we see a clear pathway to take this to 5+ million ounces. Currently, the resource that we have right now, the 1.7 million ounces, goes to a maximum depth of 700 meters with an average depth of 350 meters. So with the historic mining going down to 2 kilometers, you can understand how much upside there is down dip on these veins. And that's just a matter of drilling. Just a note on the metallurgy, 96% average recovery on the metallurgy, 65% of that was free gold. So there's a lot of very coarse free gold at Braylorn. It's very famous. I don't know if anyone here has ever been over to the ROM and seen some of the samples from Braylorn, but they have these nuggets that are about the size of my fist, and it's a very, very incredible, extremely high grade deposit. Just some milestones and upcoming catalysts here. So I mentioned we put out our resource earlier this year, February. We secured our funding in June 2023. We've updated our engineering plans, completed an updated mine plan. The portal construction, which I mentioned, is complete, and all of the development down in the Mustang mine to where we're going to begin production in the next couple months is all complete. We started resource conversion drilling last October. We've been putting out really good drill results. If anyone here is on our mailing list, you would have seen some of these incredible drill results coming out of the Mustang mine. Decline construction is done. Ore sale agreement, which we're currently working on, we should have that out to market very shortly. The final terms of that are right at the finish line. Our trucking agreement is signed. Ongoing resource drilling, that is finished up now. We finished that about a week ago, and we'll look to start another program likely later on this year. But really, the ultimate goal here, the major catalyst for us, is starting test production. So the first trucks shipping ore to our centralized mill facility, and we expect those first trucks to leave site in early May, and we expect to start production in April. So the value proposition here is pretty clear. We all know the Lassonde curve. We're sitting right at the bottom of the Lassonde curve at the end of development. So we're at that point where we're expecting to get re-rated. So we're strongly capitalized, low capex, rapid startup. We're able to start this mine up. It's been taking us about 9 months from inception of the decision to start taking the production to when we're going to have our first stopes blasted. We have a lot of upside on our resource, and we will be using some of the funds, the capital that comes from mining, to go out and expand on that resource. We'd like to get that resource up to 2.5 million ounces in the next 12 months and continue to grow it and continue to grow the life of this mine. There's also a large exploration upside outside of just the Braylorn camp itself. We own 33 kilometers of trend, and that trend has over 40 different gold deposits along it. So there's a ton of brownfield exploration still required here. And that's something that we'd like to start working on in 2025, 2026, because we see a scenario once we bring a mill on site, mining satellite deposits around the main Braylorn camp. So being able to ship those down to our centralized mill. And then, of course, that undervalued secondary asset over at Ladner, that's an incredible deposit. And if we were in a good gold market, that should reflect in our market cap. But right now, we're not getting any value for it. So really, that's free carry for our shareholders. And once the gold markets turn around and we start to drill that and get it to 2 million ounces, it's going to be an extremely valuable asset in Talisker. I'll make a note on our analyst coverage and target prices there. So Sprott or SCP, they have a target price on us at $2 right now. Laurentian Bank just initiated coverage, an excellent report. They break down a lot of the economics of the mine. They got a $1.20, and then Red Cloud there has a $2 analyst target price for us. And really that's where we'd expect to be. And we're all in this room because we're either investors or working in junior mining, and it's been a very, very tough couple of years. So let's all hope that things turn around in the next few years, because we all have great assets and a lot of us have great visions, but without the market, it's very, very difficult. I am running out of time here, aren't I? Just want to make a quick note on this. This is a cross section that runs through our deposit. You can see that's a 5-kilometer cross-section, 3 historic mines there, the King Mine, Braylorn Mine, and Pioneer Mine. The Braylorn Mine was the mine that went down to 2 kilometers depth, and they mined one vein, the 77B vein. It averaged 25 grams per ton. Incredible vein system. The King Mine there, that's where we're going to be starting production in a zone called the Mustang. And everything you see in red there, that is our current compliant resource. You'll see some of the shades around the resource. We have drill holes in that. We just didn't have close enough drill spacing to bring it into compliance. So when we decide to go back and expand on the resource, we can build that up to 2.5 million ounces pretty quickly. Am I out of time there?
You can keep going for a few minutes. It's
Okay.
Just 5 minutes for Q&A. You lead into that.
Okay. Just a quick discussion. I mentioned this, but Braylorn district scale upside. As a company, we went out and we acquired all the ground around the main deposits. So now we control the entire belt. There's 7 historic mines, 47 mineral occurrences. We amalgamated the entire thing. It took quite a bit of work. Up in the north there, we have our Congress mine. So this mine was put into production, produced around 30,000 ounces, but there's a historic resource there of just under 200,000 ounces, averaging 9.1 grams. They only drilled that deposit down to 200 meters. And it's same geology as Braylorn, very continuous, crack and seal orogenic veins. So with that, we take the model of Braylorn, we go up there, we apply it from an exploration perspective. We could see that getting well over 1 million ounces. So that's one of our main targets on the brownfield side. We stepped out of the Braylorn camp and we tested a few targets in the early days of Talisker, and one of them was the BRX, which was another small historic mine. And you can see there we had drill results coming back up to 329 grams. So a lot of work is still yet to be done on the brownfield side here, but the focus for us as a company right now is getting Braylorn into production and creating cash flow so that we can self-fund further exploration and further mine development, grow this thing to a place where we can put a facility on site and start to crank out some real ounces.